I appreciate it. And it's true, man. It's like kids like you that grew up in the system or, people like me that were abused by their parent, people that were, molested by, a babysitter or a fucking teacher or a scout leader or anything like that. I think the statistic is pretty staggering on how it flows down. Like it never stops that cycle, you know? And it's not like it's not, and I watch Law and Order SVU like all the time.
Right.
It's one of my favorite shows, right? Like now it's kind of whack, but like, for the past 20 years, I've been watching this show and other, Law and Order shows, cop shows. Generally, whenever someone's a psychopath or does something, disgusting like that, like abuses children or molests children, they usually had it done to them.
Right.
Like it's like, it's like 99% of the time, like these people do this kind of stuff. It's because they're abused and then it's what they know. And I don't even know if it's a conscious or subconscious thing that happens. Yeah. And I don't know, man. It's just like, for me, it was just like, I have a great relationship with my kids, and I'm divorced. I don't have a great relationship. I'm not great with women. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? Like I've never been in a physically or verbally abusive relationship. Right. Clear. It's like, I've got my issues, but like with my kids and stuff like that, like there's never been any type of abuse.
Yeah.
Mental, physical, verbal, none of that stuff, dude. Right. And it's like me and my dad, I just posted this recently too. We didn't really talk for the past like 20 years. And we had a tough situation growing up. My mom passed away when I was 6 of breast cancer. And my dad kind of had like a wire like cut loose when it happened, right? In his head. Yeah. And he never went and sought and got help, right? And so he was either bipolar or manic or whatever you want to call it. Who knows? Sure. But something was off, right? Really bad OCD. People loved this dude, right?
Yeah.
Until they didn't, because the mask that you put on eventually comes off. Right. It always does.
Right.
If you're around people long enough, they're going to see the real you come out.
Right.
And eventually, in the end, he pretty much whittled down his close circle to like 2 people, and that's just kind of what happens. And it's one of those things where when someone passes, and I'm sure, I don't know if your parents are still around, but you being in the system, you probably have a lot of resentment if they haven't already passed.
Yeah.
For me, I got a lot of closure when he passed away. And it's so odd because when you don't see a person and you don't talk to a person and you don't live in the situation, you think so much about all the bad shit. It's all you think about.
Right.
And then when they're gone and I'm going through the house, I'm throwing out all this shit and you're seeing all the idiosyncrasies of the person, like the fact that he still had every Star Trek VHS tape that he recorded. Yeah. But he also had every Star Trek DVD.
Wow, he kept both. Yeah.
And he had Star Trek posters still in plastic frames with a $5.99 sticker on them. But it's like, but he also had like comic books that are worth like $100,000. So it's like, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like this weird idiosyncrasy of like keeping things, and it makes you laugh. Like you laugh about it. You're just like, the dude is so fucking nuts. Like the things that they don't make sense to normal humans, and it's like you're going through pictures and like you wind up telling stories that were like traumatic for you as a kid, but now you're an adult. It's funny.
Yes.
Like I have this story that my dad, like I eat ketchup with steak, right? And there's a reason behind it, is because my dad always thought that if you didn't eat your meat well done, that you would get salmonella. And so he would make us eat these well-done steaks, which is fucking gross, right? And so the only way I could chew it was if I dipped it in ketchup. Now I go to fucking Elway's or or STK, and I'm ordering $150 tomahawk steak, dipping it in ketchup, and they're like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "That's just how it's got to taste. I don't know, man." And so it's just like, but stuff like that, and then you know what I mean. And it's like, it's just like little things like that, and you're going through pictures because you don't take pictures of the shitty moments, you take pictures of the good moments.
Yeah, right.
And so you start just remembering like the good things and stuff like that. And at the end, you're like, man, there had to be a way that we could have closed that gap. Yeah. There had to be, you know? And I think a lot of people write people off too easily.
I agree.
You know, and
especially parents. But I agree. I'm learning more and more that
I just learned this myself, dude.
I'm with you. Yeah.
But it's one of the things of breaking the cycle, because I wound up speaking at his eulogy. I delivered his eulogy, which is, you know, an odd thing for someone that had, you know, abusive parent that he didn't speak to for 20 years. That like, you know, I mean, like he like literally cut me and my sister out of the will. Like we were not in the will at all. And it's like mentioned in there that we were not to receive anything. Like that's how he fucking feels about it.
This isn't like, clear.
Yeah. And me and my sister are both like pretty successful. She's way more successful than I am, way smarter. And, you know, like compared to most children, like most parents would be pretty happy to have, you know, 5 grandchildren and 2 kids that run pretty big businesses from nothing, you know, that we came up. And, but, you know, I'm giving the eulogy and I'm just like, you know, this is just something like I talked about breaking the cycle in the past. There's another cycle, which was non-communication. And I honestly, man, if one of my kids murders somebody, I'm still going to be their friend because it's still my kid. I'll visit them in prison. I'll hang, you know what I mean? Like I'll always love them and I'll always have contact with them.
Yep.
I don't care if my kids are straight, if my kids are gay, if my kids wind up being bums. Like, I don't care, man. I'm always going to love them. I'm always going to be there for them.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to support whatever it is that they do. And whatever is, I mean, obviously, if you guide your children correctly, you don't have to worry about them being bums and junkies and drug addicts and murderers, you know, hopefully, you know, but you never know, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, because there's a lot of outside forces, you know,
sure.
peer influence and stuff like that when it comes to drugs and alcohol. But it's also something that we talk about, you know, it's about part of it, you know, it's part of parenting.